Hi everybody, I'm Mary Maguire, Director of Public and Legislative Affairs at AAA Northeast, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you here today to Community Forum. It's always great to be with you, whether I'm hosting the show or whether I'm a guest on the show. Always terrific to be here at Community Forum, so thanks for joining us. And we are joined today by a very distinguished resident of Stoughton, and we are joined by Tanisha Salmon, who's been living in Stoughton now for 12 years, going on 13.
That is correct.
And Tanisha has lived many interesting and exciting lives, and so we thought it would be fun to talk to you today about some of the different things that you've done, and also the real estate market, because you're involved in real estate, and also a special charity that you're involved in, as well as a big charity event that you have coming up. So
exciting.
We will cover all of that ground today, and I think our audience will be as captivated by you and your life experiences as I was when I first met you just a couple of months ago. So Tanisha, why don't we start out by talking about a very interesting job that you had back in the day at the Four Seasons. You were there for how many years?
I was at the Four Seasons for about 12 years.
The Four Seasons in Boston.
Four Seasons Hotel Boston. I started in reservations where I assisted guests with booking luxury rooms, and then I transitioned into property management, where I helped to oversee the residents at the Four Seasons. They have about 95 residences, and yes, that was part of my role at the Four Seasons, which was really exciting. I love the Four Seasons for many reasons. For the services that they provide, exceptional services, one of the 5-star, 5-diamond hotels that are in Boston, and they really focus on service, and that was a big thing for me at the Four Seasons, is just being able to deliver high quality service to high expectation guests and residences.
Which is not an easy thing to do.
It's not.
I'm sure you had some tough days.
Yes, but you know, the management there, it's always involved and always have ways to help you to manage those situations. So that was really good.
So speaking of management at the Four Seasons Boston, you and I have something in common, because we both know Bill Taylor.
Yes, who's amazing.
Just one of the most wonderful people I've ever met in hospitality. And we know Bill at AAA because AAA, and you just referenced it, talking about the 5-diamond and 4-diamond properties.
Yes.
AAA every year does the 4 and 5-diamond awards for hotels and restaurants in Boston, and the Four Seasons Boston, of course, is always a recipient.
Correct. And we always have to run around and make sure everything is perfect when you guys are coming. So.
Which we appreciate, and we notice that, and we notice the service, which is why the Four Seasons gets that award year after year. But Bill Taylor is just one of the nicest, most down-to-earth people. So I know that one of the tenets of hospitality at the Four Seasons is that you're all very discreet.
Yes.
But just for the benefit of our viewers who are probably curious, what does a luxury room at the Four Seasons feature or entail? Can you share that with us?
So honestly, it's not anything so extraordinary. I think when people think of the Four Seasons Hotel, they think of just walking into a palace. But it's really more of an experience, or a service experience. The rooms are, they have some of the highest quality furnitures and features, but as far as it relates to the how people perceive it, it's very different. A standard room at the Four Seasons features a king-size bed, luxury king-size bed, and but it's the service, is the people that makes Four Seasons what it is, and so an average room there will cost you about $500, and that's just the standard room per night. But when you walk into the Four Seasons, you feel like royalty based on how you treat it.
It's so true.
Yes. So it's not so much the space, but it's the people.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, I think that's so true, and we've always noticed that. We've probably done 3 or 4 events there over the last 10 years, and the service is always impeccable. And at AAA, we pride ourselves on our own 5-diamond service.
Yes.
So we always try to be very courteous to our members and to make them feel special. And I think you are absolutely right. You get the same feeling when you walk into
Absolutely.
the hotel.
From the moment that you check in, and when you arrive, everyone knows your name, and you know, you get to the desk and it's like, wow, how do you know that about me? And we really try to get as much information about our guests so that when they arrive, we know exactly what they need. And that really just wow them. And we always strive to have that wow experience.
Yeah, it's the personal touch. And one of the
Yes.
things I didn't realize, but I've learned about the hospitality industry doing the awards for the last 10 years at AAA is that you obviously have people coming from all over the world to the Four Seasons in Boston, and a lot of folks who work at the hotel will speak multiple languages, which I thought was really interesting.
Absolutely, because a lot of the Four Seasons guests, like you said, they're from international places, and so when you come, we want to be able to cater to them in the same capacity as if they were home. So, yes.
Well, I think that's terrific, and I just found it very interesting when I learned that. So, as you said, your job changed. You started out doing luxury rooms, and then you started working with the residents, which I found really interesting when I first met you and you told me about this, because of the fact that I wasn't even really aware that a hotel like the Four Seasons had residents. I mean, I you know, over the years I've heard about people who, you know, were living at the Biltmore in Providence or living, you know, at the Ritz in Boston or wherever, but I didn't realize that there were so many people who were basically long-term residents of the Four Seasons. So can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, the Four Seasons, they have about 95 residences, and they are, you know, they're people who are from Fortune 500 companies and people who are just wealthy people, and they look for a home where they can live a private life and have all the you know, luxury services of the Four Seasons. And so the Four Seasons residents, they do have the same services as the guests at the Four Seasons would. They have the 24-hour concierge, the valet service, beautiful units, by the way, but they're all incredible people. And you know, just being able to see them every day and as they go about their day, to see them operating in a normal life, but just very, you know, high expectation people. And the Four Seasons residents really thrive to create that experience for them as if they were staying at the hotel.
So how many years did you work with the residents? And I know you said you loved your residents, like you really felt like
Yes.
you became very friendly with many of them.
Yes. So I was on the resident side for about 5 years.
Okay.
5 years.
So
yeah.
what's a typical day when you're working with the residents? I mean, are you always managing special requests, and what were some of those requests, or was there a routine involved?
Well, I work in the admin office, so I was really focused on, you know, the resident's home per se, in terms of contractors, if there are any contractors coming in, any work that's being done in their unit. I had to make sure that the contractor who's working in the building is licensed, insured, and all that. So you know, it's never, you never know what to expect on any given day. We always had to deal with a lot of leaks. Yeah, so you have residents on top of residences, and you know, leaks, they happen, and you know, we have to address those immediately. Other things, you know, concierge services, you know, booking dining reservations for them, theater, and you know, hosting residents events as well. It was part of what I do. We have an annual residents mix and mingle. So I would help to coordinate that, and it's always at the hotel, and it's an amazing event every time.
Wow,
so yeah,
that sounds fun.
It is a lot of fun, and the residents, they enjoy that. So we're always just looking for different ways to enhance that residential experience for them, but at the same time, really focus on creating that privacy for them as well, that we really don't disclose a lot of information about our residents, and that's one of the reasons why they choose to live at the Four Seasons, because they get that respect, that privacy, and that luxury.
They value their privacy,
Yes.
absolutely. So that's interesting that there was a mix and mingle for the restaurant, for the residents every year. So, for example, if I lived there, when I lived there, I'm kidding.
You will.
One day. So if I decided I wanted to throw a Christmas party or a holiday party for 40 of my closest friends, could I do that as well?
No, it's primarily for just the residents, mix and mingle.
Okay.
But if you want to host an event for friends and family, you could do so at the hotel, and you could possibly get a discounted rate being a resident. But there's no really anything really set up just for that purpose. Yeah.
Sounds like fun. Did you work long days? Or
typical 9 to 5.
Okay.
No, but it sometimes, based on what the operation requires, then you could, sometimes we have to alter our schedule. But being in the office, it's generally 9 to 5, because we deal with a lot of contractors, a lot of insurance companies, always checking to make sure insurance are in compliance, and contractors, we deal with a lot of those. So yeah, there's always something going on.
Well, I'm sure you have great negotiation skills.
Yes, yes.
So, so now your career has changed and branched out into some different things, and you're actually involved in the real estate market at this point. So from a very prime piece of real estate in Boston to a much broader stage for your skills and abilities. So how long have you been involved in real estate, and tell us what your role is?
So I'm a realtor, and I've been practicing real estate for about 4 years. And I've started full-time now for about 1.5 years. So it's been very interesting. The real estate market currently, as we know, is a very interesting one for many reasons. With interest rates, and as of last year, I currently focus on the JP market, and I do some work on the South Shore. But like in JP and the greater Boston area.
Jamaica Plain, for anybody who.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Yes, in Jamaica Plain and the greater Boston area, last year we've had a very aggressive market.
Right.
There were bidding wars and everything else, but now the market is kind of settling down. With interest rates climbing, you don't see that competitiveness anymore, and the prices of home are just a little are settling off just a little bit. So.
Which is good, right? Because one of the challenges, I think, of living in this area is finding something affordable. So I think it was just announced a couple of days ago that the median housing price in the Boston, or I guess across the state in Massachusetts, is about $375,000, and in the Boston metro area, which would include JP, I'm guessing,
yes,
the price is much higher, in the $600,000 range as a median. So
that is correct.
So it's a challenging market in terms of people being able to find and afford homes for many people. So, and of course you pointed out the fact that interest rates also are going up, so it's, it becomes more challenging as well. But I guess the good thing is that there's a little bit more inventory right now. Is that is that the case?
Yes, we've seen a little shift. More people are putting their homes on the market, which is great. It gives buyers an advantage. Not everyone just going after one particular home. and creating that bidding war. You know, I've seen where people used to go in and put in offers with no contingency, waive an inspection, which as a realtor, I don't believe that's in the best interest of someone who's buying a home. So it's nice to see now that, buyers can choose. But I would caution them to, if you're looking for a home to buy right now, to really just go out there and be diligent and find it versus waiting, because with the interest rate, it's really affecting your mortgage that you're going to be paying on that home.
So now's a good time to be looking. So let's say I'm a first-time home buyer. I'm not, but I'm sure there are many first-time home buyers out there who are listening to this show. What advice do you have as a realtor to a first-time home buyer, let's say a young couple or someone who's looking to get into the market for the first time, a young single person looking to not be paying rent for an apartment but looking to purchase a home? What advice do you have?
So the first thing I would tell my first-time home buyers is to attend a first-time home buyer seminar. That way you get a full overview of what to expect when you're purchasing a home, from your mortgage to your insurance to inspection. They really give you a full overview of those different parts of what you are going to be facing in this transaction.
That's a great suggestion. And by the way, we offer home buying seminars and first-time home buyer seminars at AAA. So. Yes. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I think that's great. I think as a home buyer, you want to be knowledgeable about this purchase that you're making. It's a huge investment, and you want to be very prudent about that. And being able to know what is happening and what are your expectations, what are things that you're going to need to do, is very important. And so a first-time home buyers class will definitely help you in that regard.
Great suggestion.
Also, just focus on the areas that you want to live. Not only that you want to live per se, but also if you're a family, you look at areas that may have good schools. As a realtor, we can't steer you in one particular area. So that's on you to really find out what areas are safe, what areas have good schools. Public transportation is huge, so you want to definitely find out what areas you have access to public transportation, so that 5 years from now, if you want to sell your home, you now have a broader reach. You're not just focusing on someone who drives, but you can focus on someone who also doesn't have a car. So
I think that's absolutely right. Safety, schools, quality of schools, and public transportation, 3 big considerations and 3 big selling points too for communities.
Absolutely. So that would be my, and get a realtor.
That's right.
Yes, not all real estate professionals are realtors. Realtors abide by a certain rule and ethics, and so you want to really deal with someone who's ethical and who is about your best interest. And so as being a realtor, you are held to those standards.
So let me ask you this, because at AAA we talk a lot about the benefits of working with a travel agent, for example.
Right.
What are the benefits for the average home buyer or seller of working with a realtor?
So a realtor, you have to really go, you have to take special education classes, so you're not just, just doing real estate. You're constantly being educated on the market, on the needs of our community. Being a realtor, like I said, it holds the code of ethics holds you to a high standard, and so in all your transactions, you have to be, ethical. And I think that's important in the world of real estate, where people get into real estate for so many wrong reasons. But it's very important to really know the agent that you're working with. Yeah.
What can I expect you as a realtor to do for me if I'm selling my home, let's say?
So being a realtor, first of all, I would definitely advise you on how the market is doing right now. I think that would be helpful in terms of how, the pricing of your home. Then I would definitely walk you through, how to set up your home to get the best value for it, which means sometimes it may be going through and looking for things that you could fix. Sometimes even get a pre-home inspection for yourself. You'll find out some things that you didn't know about your home, and that you can help to not have a hold up at the end because something comes up on a home inspection.
That's a really good suggestion. Yeah. So for example, if my septic system needs to be upgraded or something like that, better to find that out with a pre-home inspection before I put the home on the market?
Exactly.
Okay. Let's talk about this for a minute, because this is a topic that I find really interesting. So do you suggest improvements that people should make to their homes? I mean, everybody knows, declutter, fresh paint,
yes,
nice curb appeal, but what are the things that you recommend? Like for example, would you recommend a bathroom upgrade or a kitchen upgrade, or is it not really worth it to put that extra money into the property? What's the general advice?
Well, it definitely worth investing in the upgrades if you can, if you're able to do that. Because a lot of buyers now, they're looking for homes that are turnkey ready, like they could just move right into it. They don't want to take on the responsibility of renovating a bath or a kitchen. And a bath and a kitchen is your biggest selling points of your home. So if those have the latest upgrades in terms of appliances and finishes, absolutely will definitely help in getting the best value for your home. If you cannot afford to do that, definitely a nice paint job will suffice, and just making sure that there's less clutter, like you said, making sure that you fix things that needs repair, and that's.
So if you had to identify one, what's more important, upgrading the kitchen or upgrading the bathrooms?
Definitely the kitchen.
Really? Okay. And is that because we all spend so much time in our kitchens?
We do. We love our kitchen. and so that's all of my buyers are like, where's the kitchen? I want to see the kitchen. So yes, that is definitely one of the most important areas to really put your money into if you're going to do any sort of investment for the selling of your home.
So I have a theory, which is that we all should just build homes that are just a kitchen sort of surrounded by smaller rooms where we spend time, because whenever I've had a party or a get-together at our house, I'm always trying to get people out of the kitchen into the other rooms, and no one ever really wants to leave the kitchen.
Well, you could have conversation, you could eat, you could entertain. Everything is done in the kitchen.
Yeah, exactly. So I think the new plan for homes should just be giant kitchen, surrounded by, smaller rooms that you spend time in. But so that's interesting. So you think the kitchen is more important than the bathroom. What about all of the little details you hear about, such as, bake bread before people are coming in, light a candle, put fresh flowers out? Do those kinds of things really make a difference, or are they just kind of incidental to the process?
I feel like they're incidental. Like a person walking into a home, they know, they're looking at the space. I don't think they're so much focused on the aromas of the space. Yeah. It's what's going to be fitting for them and their family at the end of the day. So having your home, really decluttered and having things out of in place, it would definitely be a good selling point.
Yeah, well, decluttering is a challenge for all of us. I think I'm going to
is.
have to allow about 5 years to get ready for any move that I might be doing in the future. It takes a while to get organized.
We all have that challenge.
Yeah, that's what's great about moving into a new home, I think, which I haven't done for about 30 years, because it forces you to
get rid of
to
stuff.
get rid of things,
Yes.
to declutter, to start over fresh. And, you know, there's nothing like that feeling of moving into a new place and being able to hang pictures.
No,
and,
absolutely.
you know, all of that. So I think it's really fun. What about the issue that we hear a lot about here in Massachusetts and in Boston, because our housing prices do tend to be higher than many other parts of the country, as you know all too well? What about the challenge of affordable housing? Do you have any thoughts on that? And is there enough inventory in kind of the starter house, you know, the lower priced home right now, or do we need more of that?
Oh, we absolutely do need more affordable housing. Especially in the Boston housing market, there's really no such thing as affordable housing, honestly. You know, all the new buildings that are going up now, it's all luxury building, and you know, the average family really cannot afford those prices. So, you know, they're forced out of living in the city and to go into other areas, but I really do believe that, you know, we really need to pay a lot of attention to that issue, because it's causing a lot of homelessness. A lot of family just are just broken now because they just don't have anywhere to live. And even if they do decide to move out of the city into a suburban town, they don't really have the access to the resources that they need. Some of them need medical resources, or, you know, just working, just get into your job is just going to cause, you know, effect on your life. And a lot of the buildings that are going up now, you know, every building is responsible to contribute to this whole affordable housing budget, you know,
mandate. Yeah.
Yes. So it's required, but at the same time, it's not like they're going to build an apartment or give 2 or 3 units out of that building to the community. They're only given funds to this whole affordable housing mandate, but the funds are then used to probably build houses outside of the city. So it's a real challenge, and there's just so much real estate in Boston, you know, and every piece of it right now is being used for some sort of luxury building.
Yeah, you know, I think you raised such a good point, Tanisha, and I know the governor, certainly the Baker administration, has identified affordable housing as, you know, one of its vital issues, and the governor just put forth a package of bills related to housing. But I think you're absolutely right, and it's such a good point that you make about transportation. I mean, when we bought our home, you know, many years ago, I was working in Providence, my husband was in school in Boston, and so we actually moved about 30 miles outside the city, and so of course it was much more affordable. Right. But we also had cars, and not everyone does. Some people need to be closer to their job so that they can get to their job, because they don't have necessarily the transportation alternatives. So, you know, you raise a really great point, I think. One of the things I'm interested in is that, you know, in both of these jobs, your position at the Four Seasons and now your role as a realtor, you're still involved in making people feel at home where they are, or helping them feel more comfortable in their home, happier in their home. What does it feel like when you connect a buyer with a new home, and you know they're going to be moving it in and it's the right fit for them? Is that really satisfying for you?
Oh, it's amazing. It's really a gratifying experience, just to be able to make that happen, because they will always remember this moment of their life, you know, especially for first-time home buyers. It's like they remember their first home, they remember that first experience, and to be able to have that lasting impression in their life of, you working with them, it's really a beautiful experience, really a beautiful experience.
It must bring you a lot of joy, in addition to bringing them a lot of joy. Is that kind of the best part of your job as a realtor?
It does. When we are at the closing table, that is the best part of the job, because a lot of things happen during this during the home buying process. So sometimes you might have your eyes set on this dream home, and it really doesn't happen it doesn't pan out that way, for different reasons. But the moment that you're at that table and you're just signing, and they're excited, and you make the process so seamless. I do make the process so seamless for them. So it's like, wow, you did all that, and now here we are. And so, yeah, it's really beautiful.
And you probably learned a lot about making the process seamless when you were working at the Four Seasons, because that's very much what you were trying to do there too, is to provide great service and really facilitate things for the people you're working with.
Absolutely, absolutely. They do come hand in hand.
So you had good practice at the Four Seasons.
Yes.
So we're going to transition after we hear a word from Gary LaPierre about our sponsors on the show. We're going to transition into talking about another one of your passions, which also relates to homelessness in some cases and the ability to find a home. And you're actually looking for a home for your charity. So the theme of the home will continue in just a moment after we hear a few words from Gary LaPierre and our sponsors.
Hi, it's Gary LaPierre, and the crew wants to thank Maxie's Delicatessen. That's at 117 Sharon Street in Stoughton. They're 781-341-1662. American Cancer Society, yes, they're looking for volunteers. Drive cancer patients to and from their treatments. 1-800-ACS-6662. Or just go to www.cancer.org. Ilsa Mark's Food Pantry in St. Anthony's Free Market, 2 Park Avenue in Stoughton. For more information, call Christine Gallagher. That's at 781-341-0611. Or 781-341-0549. Meals on Wheels. Just ask for Jessica. You'll find her at 781-344-8882, extension 2. Stoughton Penny Saver. Our business is advertising your business, they tell us. 27 Rose Glen Street, Stoughton, 781-344-4833. Community Forum showtimes in Stoughton. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m., Monday at 8 p.m., Tuesday at 5 p.m. It's on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 28. All comments and suggestions welcome. Contact us at communityforum1@yahoo.com. Samaritans, they're at 41 West Street on the 4th floor in Boston, 02111. Their phone number is 617-536-2460. 24-hour helplines for Samaritans, and the number is 877-870-HOPE. That's 877-870-4673. Samaritans, you can find them at 800-252-TEEN. That's 252-8336. Or find them online at SamaritansHope.org.
Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I'm Mary Maguire, Director of Public and Legislative Affairs at AAA Northeast, and I am joined once again by Tanisha Salmon, who is our guest on Community Forum today. And Tanisha, we're sort of pursuing this theme of the home. We talked about the residences at the Four Seasons, and then we talked about the fact that you are a realtor in the greater Boston community. You live here in Stoughton. You said you do a lot of work in Jamaica Plain, which I know is a hot area right now.
It is.
But in addition to your 2 daughters, you also have another tremendous passion, which is your charity work that you do, which also relates to the home in some way and to finding a home for people who really need either a transitional place to live where they're safe or a permanent home where they can take up residence. Why don't you tell us about your charity?
So thank you. Yes, I am the founder of a nonprofit called Begin to Dream Again. And our mission is to help women who are homeless, that are victims of domestic violence. our long-term vision is to find a home for those women to be a safe haven while they transition and get their feet back to, get back on their feet. And so the mission of Begin to Dream Again is, it's just been really a much needed project in all areas. But we currently now primarily focus on the greater Boston area. We do a lot of work with the Woodmullen Shelter. So we provide services to the guests at the Woodmullen Shelter, and those services are anything from career development classes to personal care items that they may need. Also, rental assistance program. With me being in real estate, I'm able to go in there and educate them on what they would need to get into an apartment. And so that's some of the services that Begin to Dream Again focuses on right now. However, our ultimate goal is to really get that multifamily home to serve these women who are victims of domestic violence.
So how did you get involved in this work? How did this become your passion? Was it something you were always passionate about?
I've always been passionate about helping women, being an inspiration for them. After I had my wedding canceled and then turned that venue into raising funds and helping the women of the Women's Lunch Place in Boston, that really opened my eyes to what was really happening in our community, the great need that women are facing. And so with that, I took on the challenge of getting 6 other ladies together, and I said, we have to do something. Someone has to do something about what's happening. And so we joined together, and this was 3 years ago, and we have been going at it ever since. It's definitely not an easy project to oversee, but it's much needed. And so, being from a poor family and just not having everything, and it really inspires me to really just give back to these women and be an inspiration to them and say, look at me, this is what I'm doing, but I was where you are at one point. And I think that always speaks volume to them and really inspire them to really do better. And so this is what I continue to do to really just promote and help to build these women and be a hope to them.
Which I think is so incredible and so much needed in the community. So you grew up in a family where you didn't always have all of the things that you needed.
Right.
And how did you personally rise above that, rise above whatever your constraints were as a young person to become the successful person you are today?
So it all has to do with my belief, really. I'm a woman of faith. I believe in God, and I continue to, even when life gets really tough, and it's still to this moment, it's very challenging at times, but I continue to focus on not the moment right now, but what is to come. Like, I can use this moment that I'm experiencing to inspire someone to be my best self. It is in the time of adversity that you really realize how strong you are. And if you can take away something from your experience and you can just use it to really build you up and just continue to believe in yourself, I think that speaks volume. And that's how I've always operated my life. My grandparents really instilled some great values in me of working hard for what you want, and I've really lived my life around that, just working and working. And there are people who come into my life that sometimes sees me and say, "Oh, you're incredible, you're this and you're that," and they speak so much life into me. And sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, really? You really think of me as that?
It's nice to have a little praise every once in a while.
Yes. And so, it's amazing how someone can speak life into you. And so that's what I really aspire to do for women who are broken and feel like there's no hope. There is hope. You know, it's just really continuing to believe that.
Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger,
Yes,
right? Builds
yes.
character, and you know, I think that's such a terrific philosophy that you have, and so inspiring to all of us, you know, not just women, just all of us every day. You know, we
Right.
all face a certain amount of adversity, and you know, getting through that makes you realize that you can do it and builds your self-esteem.
Right, and another thing that's helpful is really knowing your purpose. Is not really just dwelling on your pain and just saying, why me, but it's really in that time just going out and helping someone else, and you'll find healing in helping others while you're going through the most toughest times in your life. That experience I had when my wedding was canceled, it healed me to go to the women's lunch place and volunteer and do all these things. I completely forgot about my pain because I saw that, you know, the pain that I was experiencing was nothing comparing to those who had no homes, who had no food, who were just, you know, personal care item was just like getting gold to them. It was amazing.
You know, I completely agree with you. I think focusing on something outside yourself gives you so much perspective, and that's one of the things I loved about being a television news reporter for 25 years. I felt like I met so many people who were in so many different difficult situations, and it really builds your perspective and makes you realize how fortunate you are in many ways. And I interviewed victims of domestic violence as a news reporter, and I remember interviewing families who were in night-to-night shelters, moving from place to place with children, and I thought, how do people do this? So, you know, back to the point about housing. For anybody who might have missed the last show that you appeared on here at Community Forum, tell us just briefly what happened with your wedding, because you really did transform what could have been a terrible situation into something very joyful. Can you tell us about it?
Well, absolutely, yes. It was a very heart-wrenching experience, you know, having your wedding canceled just a week before without any indication. I mean, we had no issues. You just didn't see it coming.
And the groom canceled.
And the groom canceled. And so I was left with a venue all paid for. It was non-cancelable because we only had 7 days. And so, you know, I was really heartbroken. I was devastated. But then it kind of brought me back to my faith, and just knowing that, you know, all things work together for the good. And so I used that opportunity to reach out to the women's lunch place, and I said, you know, I have a venue that's already paid for. I don't really know how you guys can use it, but I want to be able to use it to help the women at the women's lunch place. And they're like, well, I don't know. That's we've never had this happen.
Talk about when life gives you lemons, make lemonade.
Yes.
So actually it worked out really well. What happened?
Exactly. So I then used the venue to host an event for them. We raised $1,500, and in addition to that, we brought in a lot of personal care items. And so, you know, that's where Begin to Dream Again happened. It's like, begin to dream again. Life is not over. Begin to dream again. Dream of, you don't have to dream about the honeymoon, but you could dream about, you know, just moving on with your life and just helping others. And that's how this all came about.
I just find that so amazing that you used an experience that for you was so painful, I'm sure, to create an opportunity to give back to others. I mean, that's really a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you, and we all can do it. You know, it really just finding your purpose and taking that courage, taking that leap of faith, and knowing that we're here to serve each other in whatever capacity that we can. It doesn't necessarily have to be a homeless, but you know, helping your neighbor, or you know, just helping someone at the store, or allowing someone to get through in traffic. It's the little things that we do for each other that really, like you said, builds character and just really bring a gratifying experience. It makes life worth living.
Giving somebody a smile or some praise or a kind
Yes.
word. And we talk about that all the time at AAA. I talk about it in interviews that I do about being kind to people on the road, cutting them some slack. Maybe they're having a
Yes.
bad day.
Yes.
Let them yield and if it's safe, and let them go first.
Yes.
And it gives you a good feeling. You feel like
does.
you just made their day a little bit better. And I couldn't agree with you more. So speaking of creating opportunities to give back, you have a terrific event that's coming up that everybody out there can contribute to and get involved with or attend, and it's called Cosmos for Compassion.
Cosmos for Compassion.
And this relates to Begin to Dream Again, your organization. So tell us about this.
It does. So part of this is part of one of our fundraising efforts is to get that multifamily home for women who are victims of domestic violence. And so Cosmos for Compassion is our third annual fundraiser that's being held on March 28th, 2019. Very exciting event. We're going to have our keynote speaker, Cindy Stumpo, who is an incredible woman. She dominates the world of builders, dominates the man space.
It's the home theme again.
Yes,
she is a home builder. Cindy is a home builder.
And she's also passionate about helping women as well. And so she's a perfect fit for a keynote speaker. And it's just going to be an amazing time networking with different professionals and award ceremony and Cosmos. Everyone loves
Everybody
Cosmos.
likes Cosmos. Gotta love the pink drinks. That's right.
Yes.
Do you have to wear pink? Or?
You don't have to wear pink. You just come with a spirit of just giving back and really just having a great time.
I love the title. I love the Cosmos for Compassion. Did you come up with that?
I did. And Cosmos, I think, are fun and they're great drinks. But compassion really is, we really need compassion in.
We sure do.
Yes, in this day and age. I think, it seems like we lost it. And compassion is necessary to build our society. Like I said, we all are here to serve, and so
to be kind to each other.
To be kind to each other, and so compassion. Our whole theme of compassion is just kindness and helping one another, and building together, which is what we are hoping to communicate in this fundraiser is just being kind.
Absolutely. So where is this taking place? How can I buy tickets? How can folks out there in the Stoughton community and beyond get involved? What can they do? What can we do to help you further this mission of finding a home? Again, that's our theme today for these women in need.
So I would love for everyone to join us.
Okay.
This is March 28th. It's going to be at Cindy Stumpo's home in Brookline. She actually built this home, so it's going to be quite an experience. If you're interested, and I would love for everyone to come, like I said, but you can definitely go on our website, www.begintodreamagain.org, to find out more information about tickets and just some more information about the event.
How much are the tickets?
$75.
Okay.
And again, this goes to our fundraising efforts to get this multifamily home. We don't know in what location this home will be built, but we definitely hope that it's probably in the Boston area or even the Brockton area. But our focus is to make sure that it's in a location where these women will have access to public transportation.
Okay, so this would be a fundraiser, and again, your third annual fundraiser, to help raise money to create a safe space for these women in need, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay, which is a terrific goal. And for those who don't know, I've heard Cindy Stumpo speak, and she is herself very inspirational.
Oh, yes, she's a powerhouse.
She is a powerhouse.
Yes.
She's got, I believe, a radio show on WBZ Radio. I've heard her on the show, I think on Saturday night, and I know she's done a show on HGTV, Tough as Nails, and she's a tough lady. She started out, as I recall from her speech, which I attended a few years ago, in the construction industry, learning the trade from the ground up, and now she builds really extraordinary homes, many of them luxury homes in the Boston area. So I can only imagine that the opportunity to see her home would be something really special and fun.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's going to be a great experience for all guests who come out, because she promised to also give a personal tour of her home, which is going to be amazing.
Wow. So I'm going to buy a ticket. I'm going to, and you know, $75 for a charity event that includes Cosmos and food and a very special house tour for those of you out there who love to work on fixing up your home, and who doesn't love to do that, right? And to get some great tips from an accomplished builder such as Cindy Stumpo. I think it sounds like a great evening, and to do all of that for such a wonderful and important cause, too, of furthering the cause of women,
right,
and providing a safe space for them is really, I mean, what could be better, right? I mean, it's a win-win.
Absolutely. You know, like I said, I work in the shelters every month. I'm there volunteering, and a lot of the women in the shelters, they are victims of domestic violence. And the shelters are so overcrowded. There's just the Woodmullins just actually expanded on their space a little to have more beds, just to accommodate the great need that's out there. But you know, these women are just checking in and checking out from day to day with no solid ground, no real you know, resource to really help them. And so I'm hoping with this project, Begin to Dream Again, we can help them do just that.
What other things, besides buying tickets for your event on March 28th, which you can do on the website, what other things can folks like me do in the course of the year to help Begin to Dream Again, to help these women? You mentioned a coat drive that you had at holiday time. Are there other kinds of things that people can visit your website and find out about that they can do to help contribute to these people?
Absolutely. If you go on our website, www.begintodreamagain.org, you'll see there's a space where you can sign up to become a volunteer, which we love volunteers. Any nonprofit does, right? But really, if you're truly passionate about your community and wanting to see a difference in you know, in this particular area, I would encourage everyone to just come to our website, sign up, and we'll definitely get in touch with you and see how you can help us to bring our project to fruition. And
there's the website and the phone number there on the screen, so hopefully everybody had time to take that down so that they can call and volunteer or contribute in some way. Now, you just did a major coat drive for the holidays. How many coats were you able to collect, and how were they distributed?
So we did about close to 300 coats, and not just coats, but we did socks, hats, scarves, gloves, and we ran out. And that's the most heartbreaking thing, is not being able to serve everyone that was in attendance. So this is something that we do every year since we've started. Anton's Cleaners have been amazing in helping us get in all these coats. But also our local businesses, you know, put together coat drives and have their employees bring in coat, and that was very helpful this year. Our challenge always been just getting larger coats. We get a lot of small and medium coats, but a lot of extra large, and you know, and most of those people needs the extra large coats so that they could, you know, bundle up and
That's
whatnot.
good for people to know, I think, because I did not realize that until you shared that with me. And certainly with the temperatures dropping right now, you know, everybody's in need of those coats, hats, and gloves. So that's such a great drive and campaign that you were involved in over holiday time.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, like I said, the biggest, it was a great event. However, a lot of people walked away with not having anything. And
that's tough.
You know, that was really heartbreaking. So, you know, this is why we need volunteers to really help our reach to get more awareness to what we're doing, and to really share with the community the great need that's out there.
So did you hear that, everybody? Log on to that website that
Yes.
we showed you, begintodream.com, and find out how you can get involved. I want to bring this conversation full circle because we started out talking about you working at the Four Seasons, where you were serving a very wealthy clientele by your own admission. Now you're working with folks who have very little. Is one more rewarding than the other, or are they just different?
Well, they have their own space, I would say. But it all comes down to helping someone, whether it be in the luxury field or whether it's in the homeless field. Definitely working with the homeless is definitely a more gratifying experience, because you really get to appreciate life a lot more. You get to really appreciate the small blessings. The things that you take for granted. We become so ungrateful, in our lives, because we have access to so many things that we don't really realize that we're blessed.
Absolutely.
So working in this field really gives me a whole nother perspective on life, and I wouldn't change it for the world. Yeah.
You really have had a unique perspective, and you've worked with people who have, again, some of the most luxurious homes or
Yes.
residences. You're helping to put everyday folks into new homes as a realtor, and you're working very hard to try to find a permanent home for those who are homeless, in need, who are threatened by domestic violence, through your organization, Begin to Dream Again, and with your fundraiser that you have coming up, Cosmos for Compassion. So if we can put up that slide and website just one more time. Again, if you're interested, log on to the website. Can they call the phone number as well, Tanisha?
Yes, 617-818-9979. That's our phone number if you need more information about our fundraiser or about real estate, about anything. You can give that number a call.
Okay, so let's all get involved. As I said, I'm going to buy a ticket. You should too.
Love it.
And I can't thank you enough for being our guest here today. It's been really inspirational and fun talking with you.
Thank you, Mary, for having me. I
Well,
really appreciate it.
It's been wonderful, and we hope that you will tune in for our next community forum, and we hope that you will buy a ticket to Tanisha's event and reach out to help others in the community who are not as fortunate as many of us are. It's been great being with you today. Have a terrific day and a terrific week.